Welcome to Ethiopia Today.
What's Egypt's burning issue on Gerd project? This is our expert review of the report by Al Monitor. As usual, we present the report as it is, and then we will bring our own reflection on the subject matter. And we invite you to follow us until the end to get the complete picture of our presentation, and to post your own views too. Let's get straight into the presentation. Egypt continues to implement projects for water management. Although some say the third filling of the Grand Ethiopian Renaissance Dam will not affect Cairo's water supply this year. Before the start of the third stage filling of the Grand Ethiopian Renaissance Dam's Gerd Reservoir, and with the start of the planting season in the summer, Cairo is considering all scenarios related to water resources management for this year, Al Monitor reports. In a meeting with Minister of Water Resources and Irrigation Mohammed Abdel Adi on April 18, President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi discussed the water situation in the country and water needs for the agricultural and drinking water projects. Despite the strict measures adopted to optimize water use in the country, Egypt is facing new challenges imposed by the Russia-Ukraine war this year, namely meeting its local needs in grains amid the increasing local demand for rice and wheat with the population growth, knowing that these crops require large water quantities. As part of its efforts to limit water waste, the Egyptian state issued a decision in March to limit the land surfaces planted with rice to 1.74 million fedans, one fedan being equal to about 1.04 acres in 9 governorates only, announcing strict controls and penalties for any violations. In this vein, a government official familiar with the water file told Al Monitor on condition of anonymity. The government has yet to obtain official information from Ethiopia explaining its plan and the volume of water expected to be withheld during the third stage of the Gerd's filling in the upcoming rainy season. He added, "We are considering all scenarios in light of the available data to avoid serious damage. But the continuation of the Ethiopian policy to impose a fait accompli related to the filling and operation of the dam is unacceptable in Egypt and violates international laws related to transboundary water management." Meanwhile, there are no initiatives or measures to resume negotiations with Ethiopia, the official said. Egypt's Ministry of Water Resources and Irrigation had started implementing a number of national projects in the last 5 years to deal with water scarcity as part of the so-called National Water Resources Plan, in a bid to raise the efficiency and ensure optimum use of water resources and to have non-traditional alternatives to meet the increased demand for water and inadequate water supply from the Nile River. Since the negotiations over the Gerd have stalled, Cairo has taken a number of precautionary measures to deal with any emergency events ensuing from the unilateral Ethiopian actions in the dam. They aim at protecting national water facilities, such as the High Dam, and take into account all possibilities including a collapse of the Gerd, especially since international studies questioned its safety. Let's pause here to give a chance if Malcolm has some points to raise. Malcolm, if you could particularly say something about the Gerd's collapse fear-mongering.
Sure. The Egyptian scientific study claimed that it detected a drop in the project site and raised doubts about the dam's safety. By employing the radar technology, the study reported that it analyzed about 109 vertical scenes from December 2016 to July 2021. Its findings claim to indicate that different directional offsets in different sections of the concrete main dam as well as the dam saddle or auxiliary dam. The claimed findings continued. There is an uneven vertical displacement in different sectors of the two dams, the main and auxiliary, which shows a subsidence in the dam site and poses risk. To be honest with you, I call this analysis as nothing more than another type of fear-mongering, as Ethan put it rightly. In whichever the case, Egypt has always wanted to see no dams, except the Aswan Dam on the Nile River. This study was being sponsored most importantly to get the support of the Sudanese who have been claimed to become primary victims if the collapse predictions happen to occur. The study lacks in-depth knowledge, and also we thought that this is disrespectful towards the Ethiopian engineers and other consultants and contractors who have been involved in the Gerd project.
Thanks, Malcolm.
Pleasure.
Let's continue on the remaining part of the report. Commenting on the impact of the third filling of the dam on the flow of water to Egypt, Ala Zawahiri, a professor of engineering at Cairo University and member of Egypt's technical committee for the Gerd negotiations, told Al Monitor, "The Gerd's impact on Egypt will be determined by the circumstances and the situation on the dam's site. The rainy season will begin in 3 months, while some problems, which could make it difficult to complete the structural engineering work in preparation for the filling, still persist." Zawahiri added, "This year, Ethiopia is more capable of controlling the management of the dam and its drainage. There are 2 lower openings in the dam and 1 turbine under operation. Therefore, they can be used to complete the construction of the middle passage. At a certain water level in the reservoir, the water will pass through the middle passage. Ethiopia could be able to accelerate the construction works in the next 3 months so as to store a higher water volume, but the water quantity that would be stored cannot be predicted. He went on to say, in general, we do not expect a large volume of water to be stored during the next rainy season. The experiences have shown that Ethiopia speaks of high numbers to boost its image among the local public opinion, but does not achieve them. Commenting on the possibility of predicting the storage volume based on satellite images, Zawahiri said, the satellite images give a horizontal projection. They cannot provide accurate data that is identical to that on the ground. But the Egyptian state has a clear picture and enough information to assess the situation and develop several plans to deal with it. He stressed that the impact of the third filling on the flow rate to Egypt cannot be underestimated. Any water storage rate in reservoirs on the Blue Nile will have an impact on Egypt. The presence of dams that prevent water flow is a long-term problem and one of the most complex issues in light of Ethiopia's intransigence. The latter is exploiting the Gerd project politically at the domestic level, claiming it is a national project unifying all Ethiopian ethnic groups. Malcolm, any intervention, please?
Yes, let me say a few things here. Over the years, Egypt has used its extensive diplomatic connections and the colonial-era agreements to successfully prevent the construction of any major infrastructure projects on the tributaries of the Nile. As a consequence, Ethiopia has not been able to make significant use of the river's waters, though its highlands supply more than 85% of the water that flows into the Nile River. The colonial-era agreements granted Egypt veto power over future Nile River projects. Egypt's burning issue, therefore, is the shift in that veto power. There is no reason for the upstream countries keep suffering due to the fears that building dams on Nile River might cause water shortage on the downstream countries. So, Egypt should look for long-lasting solutions for its water scarcity. It is a much powerful economy in the region and can manage this easily without any unnecessary confrontation with Ethiopia. And also, Egypt got the most powerful nation on its side, and World Bank and IMF too, if there is any financial need. But Ethiopia is not fortunate to gain such financial access for funding projects like Gerd thanks to Egypt. The US administration blocked Ethiopia's access to soft loans of either World Bank or IMF in favor of Egypt. Yes, Gerd is the national project as each and every citizen home and abroad has been paying for the execution of the project. The government of Ethiopia is not exploiting the project to gain political support as opposed to the claims Zawahiri has made. Look, everyone is dealing with its own ecological or natural problems. Don't claim as if your problem is greater than everyone else's.
Thanks. Let us resume from where we stopped. Zawahiri further said that Egypt welcomes negotiations at any time, but there should be a basis to resume those talks in order for them not to be a waste of time. The negotiations between Ethiopia, Sudan, and Egypt over the Gerd remain stalled since April 2021 after the African Union's mediation failed to broker a deal. Meanwhile, Ethiopia continues to reject any international mediation while adopting unilateral moves regarding the filling and operation of the dam. Ethiopia has not yet officially announced the expected storage volume in the third filling. Abbas Sharaki, professor of geology and water resources at Cairo University, told Al Monitor, the Ethiopian administration may not have specific information about the expected storage volume in the third filling, as the construction method at the dam site is still random and subject to the surrounding conditions. He explained that Ethiopia was set to store 18.5 billion cubic meters in the first filling, but only 5 billion cubic meters were stored in the first year compared with only 3 billion in the second year. The goal now may be to store 18.5 billion cubic meters, but it is not possible to predict whether this goal will be achieved or not, because it depends on the possibility of increasing the heights of the dam's sides and the middle passage during the next 3 months before the rainy season. The elevation may not exceed 10 meters, which does not allow a storage quantity exceeding 10 billion cubic meters. Hence, the water storage is expected to be limited. Sharaki said, the third filling may not pose a great danger to the water situation in Egypt this year, but this does not justify the imposition of a fait accompli. Egypt and Sudan have to continue to deal with the Gerd file with great caution in the absence of data exchange between the three parties, and to take into account that the water storage quantity is determined by the acceleration of the construction works at the dam. He added, Egypt's water supply from the Nile River has not been affected so far, as the supply from the flooding of the Blue Nile was higher so far than the supply from the water stored in the dam's reservoir. Commenting on the current Egyptian political position on the Gerd, Ayman Abdul Wahab, an expert in African affairs at Al Aram Center for Political and Strategic Studies, told Al Monitor, Egypt's position since the beginning of the Gerd crisis has been depending on the level of threat sense. The technical errors and failure to store large quantities of water give the Egyptian administration time to use its diplomatic means further so as to protect its interests, particularly since the parties that help ease the Ethiopian position have the same impression that there is still time. While Ethiopia is not expected to store large quantities of water, to the point of posing a threat to Egypt's water supply this year, Cairo is still cautiously handling the water management file despite the new challenges that require expanding cultivated lands. Any points to raise before we close our presentation, Malcolm?
Not that much, but let me make clear one thing here. Egypt keeps requesting delays of project completion date. The Gerd project started 10 years ago and supposed to be completed in 2017 according to its initial plan. We are now in 2022, which indicates a 5-year delay, and the project is still ongoing and its completion date yet to come in future. But Egypt must be using these delays to build long-lasting resolutions for its own people, like those mentioned earlier in this report, instead of asking Ethiopia to slow down further.
Thanks, Malcolm, and thank you all. Our viewers here are also encouraged to post your own reflections on this matter. Thanks again.
Are you looking to earn working remotely, from anywhere with maximum flexibility and convenient? Do you have a talent or services to offer to your clients? You have great chance of working on several jobs or projects for multiple clients at one time. Or are you a business owner or employer who are looking for hiring freelancer to work on your project? Well, if that's yes, please click the link below to learn more about and get started.
Thanks for staying with us. If you enjoyed our presentation, give us a like and share to your social contacts. And also don't forget to subscribe and tap on the notification bell if this is your first time. Please also check on our collection of favorites on the description section below. See you on our next video. Many thanks.